the list of oil exporters to the USA. There was no question of it being missed out of the African tour of the American president. And George W. Bush counted himself lucky, as he put it, to have Nigeria's head of state as a friend.
For a long time. I appreciate your leadership, and I appreciate your friendship. Thank you very much.
The experts at the CSIS think tank in Washington are agreed. A key role is now being allotted to West Africa in America's bid to achieve greater independence from oil supplies from the Middle East.
Today, West Africa accounts for 13–14% of U.S. oil imports. Because of new discoveries and expanding production that are going to bring on stream another 2 to 3 million barrels per day from that region in the next 5 years, U.S. imports from West Africa could exceed 20%, could reach 25%.
West Africa has become a very important, exciting area, whether you're an American company, whether you're a European company, or whether you're a Japanese or indeed a Chinese company. They're all there wanting to be part of that production growth.
The Gulf of Guinea, situated between the USA and the west coast of Africa, a tropical paradise. The island state of São Tomé, the second smallest African country. Largely forgotten by the rest of the world since the withdrawal of its colonizer, Portugal, a quarter of a century ago. The plantations in the interior, just a reminder now of more opulent days, when São Tomé was the biggest cocoa producer in the world. There hasn't been any big money to be made from cocoa beans for quite some time, but now a new source of wealth is beckoning.
São Tomé is a tiny country. It's a microstate, only 140,000 citizens. It's had a very poor, impoverished history. Suddenly it appears that São Tomé likely has between 4 and 10 billion barrels of oil. It's at the early point of putting out concessions for exploration on these reserves. It is likely to become very wealthy in the next 5 to 10 years, and will bring on stream a new source of oil. Exactly at what level? Is it 300,000 barrels a day? Is it 500,000 or 1 million barrels a day? That remains to be seen.
The news worked wonders. Overnight, this forgotten microstate became the focus of international interest. Business was booming for the best hotel. One of the first guests was the then Africa expert of the George W. Bush administration.
We tried to raise the level of interest and to demonstrate why this continent has such an important role in the future for Europe, America, for the whole world.
If you say important role, has it come into focus mainly because of oil?
I think oil has helped. There are a lot of other issues, of course, that grab the attention of policymakers, be it HIV/AIDS, increasing trade, working at increasing investment flows to Africa. All of those things are very important, as is protecting the environment. Those unique ecosystems of Africa need to be assisted and protected. But definitely oil, in realpolitik terms, does play a part of increasing Africa's importance to all of us.
In the island republic in the Gulf of Guinea, there's only one topic of interest at the moment.
Tout le monde à São Tomé ne parle que du pétrole. Bon, l'expérience a montré, lorsqu'on regarde tous les pays africains qui ont déjà eu le pétrole, ça n'a jamais été, la gestion n'a jamais été tout à fait comme les gens l'espèrent. Donc, vu cette expérience, je pense que ça ne va pas être ce que les gens attendent.
We're an hour and a half's flying time away on the west coast of the continent, in Douala, the business center of Cameroon. Even from the hotel pool, you can't fail to notice the place is in the grip of oil fever. The hotel's fully booked, the lobby's overflowing. There are 2 conferences being held today by American oil concerns. The whole of the coastal sweep of West Africa, from Ivory Coast, Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea to Angola, has become an oil dorado. Interested parties are flooding in from around the world, from America to China. It's the Africans, for once, that everybody's interested in. Shortly after dawn, women are arriving from the opposite bank to sell firewood in the city. In most cases, the money this brings in is the family's sole income. Idyllic to the eyes of foreign visitors, a hard daily grind for the women themselves. 3/4 of the 9 million people living in Chad in Central Africa exist on less than 90 cents a day. From the west coast of Africa to the interior of the continent, to N'Djamena, the capital of the Republic of Chad. One of the world's poorest countries, bearing the scars of 30 years of war. It's hoped that petrodollars will transform this country too. Street vendors are still doing good business selling petroleum by the bottle, smuggled in from neighboring Nigeria. But the aim is to replace this at some point by cheap fuel from the country's own refinery. Hopes are focused on the south of the country, on the Doba Basin near the border with Cameroon. Gas flares on the horizon, symbols of the new age. They've been extracting oil here for 2 years or so and pumping it through an underground pipeline for more than 1,000 kilometers to the Cameroon coast. Developing the oil fields, the biggest investment to date in Africa south of the Sahara. A $3 billion project supported by the World Bank and involving chiefly the American oil concerns of ExxonMobil and Chevron. Responsible for implementing the project is the subsidiary company Esso. And the exploration phase is not yet complete. The search for new oil fields is being extended to other regions, including some that are more densely populated, where farmers cultivate fields and plantations. To gain their support and explain what the future has in store for them, teams of American experts are doing the rounds. The target today, a village way out in the bush, huts either side of the dirt track. The inhabitants don't know what's going on.